A lot of you guys email me questions regarding my YouTube channel and regarding my job in design and lettering, and I thought I would just go ahead and make it a bit easier for you guys and just answer them on a question and answer sort of video like this. I said about a week ago that I wanted you guys to send in some questions, and some of you have, so I'm going to take the best questions that I have found that I personally enjoy watching and hopefully give you the answer to those questions. So this question is coming from Samir, I believe that's your name, over on Instagram, and it says, "Hi, it's Samir here. Recently I've gotten interested in lettering after watching your videos. So I need a favor from you. I'm a newbie to logo design and I want to understand and learn calligraphy and lettering. Are they the same? And what type of pencils, or can I use some..." Lettering and calligraphy are two different things. I enjoy both because I use a Nico G pen with my dip pen inks, but I also use the Pilot Parallel pen, which enables me to get that gothic look. For hand lettering though, I use my iPad Pro with the Apple Pencil and I draw out the letter forms. They're completely separate to calligraphy, and I also use paper and pencil on my moleskins. Another question that I've gotten from Aureliendo, I can't pronounce your name, dude. He says this: "How do you remove those shaky lines when practicing hand lettering?" Everyone hates those shaky lines when you're learning how to letter something, and those shaky lines are because you haven't got the muscle memory or the practice needed to actually create those nice straight lines with no shakes in them. If you're using a very thin pen or pencil, then you get more shaky lines than if you use a broader one, but on the other hand, you need a sharp image. So to anyone who's wondering how you get those shaky lines away from your work and how you can draw nice, neat lines, it just takes practice and also a few techniques of pushing upwards and pulling downwards for each stroke. Here's another Instagram question. It basically says, "Where do you recommend to sell any goods or posters and stuff like that online?" Now, there are a few places where you can sell goods online. There's a place called creativemarket.com, and you can create your own shop on there and sell your fonts or whatever you want to sell, like, graphic design resources. Or if you want to sell other things like posters, then I would say go to Etsy or make a Shopify account and make a website through Shopify. If you have your own means, make your own platform to sell. But I normally go for Squarespace at the minute through my website, where you guys can actually get all my products from there and buy them. The next question is, what Photoshop brush lettering brushes are you using? And I don't actually use any Photoshop brush lettering brushes. I make all my own in the app called Procreate on my iPad, or I just use my brush pens themselves. I made those brushes in the app called Procreate and I made it to my own liking, and if you guys would like them, you can go over to my website and you can collect them as well if you want to. Another question from Jonas Nick: "Why are all these names ridiculously bad to say? How do you receive payment for your work? Do you use PayPal or..." I use 3 different payment methods for all of my work. I use what's known as a BACS payment, which is basically sent to your personal account through a wire transaction. I use PayPal sometimes with clients. I also use a plugin or like a website called Stripe, which enables me to collect my money safely with a minimal transaction fee. It doesn't really matter how you get your money, as long as you're able to account for who's giving you that money and what for, and as long as it works flawlessly with the invoicing system, then you can do that. The next question is, how does the iPad Pro compare to the Wacom Cintiq? Now, I've done a video on this already and it should be uploaded to the channel. If not, you can have a go at me. But I basically showed you the iPad Pro and the Apple Pencil for designers. I got the iPad Pro 12.9 inches, so the bigger version of the iPad, simply because it's a better and larger space for me to work in. And compared to the Wacom Cintiq, I don't actually own a Wacom Cintiq, but I've used one and I've practiced with it a couple times. And, I don't see much of a difference. Maybe that's because I do hand lettering and it mainly doesn't bother me on which surface that I draw on, as long as I'm able to draw kind of realistically. But the Wacom Cintiq seems to be a good thing to have if you're an illustrator or if you need to be next to your desktop. The Apple iPad Pro and the Apple Pencil is a very large investment into your business, but I think that it's an amazing tool to have when you're doing lettering or illustration, because you're not bound by your desk, and also it works flawlessly with your Mac, and it's an iPad. Why wouldn't you want one? The next question is a very good question as well. It is, how do you keep yourself inspired when things get tough? We have to understand, when things get tough, I don't know what you mean, but I'm guessing that's when work isn't coming in, or when I haven't been paid as much as I needed to be, or I'm guessing when it's just generally life gets in the way. And, you know, I think that when life gets in the way, or when life chucks you lemons, you throw them back, or you make lemonade. In all seriousness, life when it gets tough, like when it's work or if it's client work or whatever it is, if things are going wrong, you need to keep yourself inspired. And you do this by having a predisposition to being inspired or being inspirational. To be a logo designer or someone in the creative field, when the market right now is booming, but there are so many people actually offering their services, and sometimes when you don't get your work, it's hard. When you're in that position, sometimes you find it demotivating, but you have to have a predisposition to being motivated. You already have to be motivated in the morning. You don't find something to make you motivated. You need to just be motivated, and money should not be the motivating factor. I've always said, you know, for my work, that I don't work to get money. I get money and I work, and that's just the way that I see it. The way that I want to work is that I get paid to do what I love, not I don't do what I love to get paid. When you have this mindset, which is really important to have, then things get a lot easier when the work isn't coming through. Also, it's also a good idea to get yourself another revenue stream which keeps you motivated and inspired and not worrying about the bills. Like, you know, for me, YouTube is another revenue stream. I sell products online, I sell courses. That's not to exploit other people, that's actually to add value to the community. But also it's another way of being creative other than my normal job, which is logo design and lettering and stuff. How do I get over graphic designer's block or creative block? Now, this is a really cool question. I get it quite a lot actually. Now, design block or creative block happens, I think, when you're working too hard on a project altogether. I think as creative professionals or someone who wants to be creative, if you're feeling pressure to do something, like whether you have a tight deadline for a client or for your university project, then you'll get this thing called creative block. Or when there's just seems to be no answer to your problem, then I think the best way of getting over creative block is, one, clear your work surface. Don't have a messy environment around you. As creative people, like if I showed you my desk right now, you would cry because it's just so messy. That seems to clear up my creative block for me, but everyone is different, so you have to find something yourself. But my main piece of advice for anyone suffering from creative block, when they're doing the work, it can be very frustrating and stressful when you have creative block because you don't feel like you can do what you want to do. Then I would say just get out of the office space that you're in, or get out of the room that you're in, and to actually do something a bit different with your time, just for a little bit, and then come back and revisit it with fresh eyes. But thank you so much, guys, for watching this video. If you would like my free products or my products that I sell online for free, then you can go and click the link in the description below where you can go to my Patreon account. You can become a patron for like less than $2, I think. And when you become a patron, you support me every month. You'll get all my products for free that are on my website. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Submit your questions down below. I want to hear what you think. See you soon.